Hi, my name is Becky. I'm going to be showing you how to manually capture an admission record for a new tertiary student. We start off in this class list. Like all screens you'll work with in Wekware, it is what we call a Wekware live document. We'll first take full advantage of our screen real estate by zooming this page to fill the screen. As you can see initially, this class list is incomplete. There are no names at the bottom. There are also some instructions in red here. These are filters which you have to fill in before the names appear. Let us select these filters. Let's pick Faculty of Engineering, Mechanical Engineering Division, Mechanical Engineering course, and first years. The names appear here. We will now create a new student. This is an admission form. As usual, we'll take full advantage of the screen real estate and zoom this page to screen width. Before we fill this form in, let's go through the form to see what is available in it. In the first section here, you got the actual admission details. That's the class the student is in, the student number, the student status. Next, you have the student's personal details. Then you have the student's admission dates. There are three different admission dates. The first is the group admission date. This is the date when the student is admitted to a particular class. Next is the course admission date. This is the date when the student is admitted to a particular course. If a course has multiple years, let's say it's a 3-year course, then the group admission date for the second and third years will differ from the course admission date, which will be for the first year. Next, you have the college admission date. This is the date when the student first is admitted to that particular college. So if a student has done a course in the past, the college admission date will reflect the date of the first course they did. Next, you have the apprentice number. If the student is an apprentice, then the number will be put here. Then we have details for the next of kin. Then for the sponsor, who is the person paying the fees. Then we have the qualification summary, which is the overall grade for whatever qualification the student may have. Then we have qualification details, which are the individual subject grades for whatever qualifications the student may have. Then we have permanent personal properties. These are user-defined properties which cover information which is not there in the predefined fields which we already have. This is permanent information, which means if you put it here, it will be associated with the student every time in the future, regardless of what other courses they do. Then here we've got course personal properties, which are again user-defined properties covering data which we don't cover in the predefined fields. But in this case, this information is associated with this particular course in this particular session. So if the student does another course or in the same course for a different session, this information won't be there. Next, we have the employer details if the student is employed. And finally, we have the bank account details for the student, since the student is an adult who may have a bank account. Now let's go back to the top and fill in this form. The student number is generated automatically later on, so we're not going to fill that in. The student status, we will say the student is now registered. Then next, we'll put in the national ID for the student. Now you may notice something interesting. When I typed in the national ID, the system automatically loaded all the details for the student, including the name, the address, and so forth. What's been happening is that this Wekware Live document is searching all its databases in the background as you type the national ID. If it finds a match, it transparently loads all the details for that person, and at the same time, it can let you continue typing. So I could change the ID if I wanted, it would allow me. Looking at the group admission date and course admission dates, they are blank. So this person has never done this course before. But if you look at the college admission date, there is a date and there is a comment. What this means is that in 2021, this person came and did a welding short course. Okay, let us put in the dates for the group admission date and the course admission date and put in today's date. Okay, the comment is just what is it that he's doing at this point. Okay, we won't change the college admission date since it is when the person first came to the college and he came in 2021 to do this course, right? The next of kin details were already there and they are already captured, and the uh, sponsor details are also there. They're captured from the previous course. Now, what's interesting here is you may notice two sliders above the next of kin details and the next of kin sponsor. Let's start with this one here. The next of kin address is same as student's address. Let's erase this address to see how this works. Okay, so here the idea is to save you typing time. So if the student stays the next of kin, they'll have the same address. So instead of typing the next of kin address, you type the next of kin name and the relationship and maybe the contact number. Then you simply put the slider on and it will copy the student's address onto here. Similarly, with the next of kin is sponsor slider. Here, if the sponsor is the next of kin, let's erase these details so you can see how that works as well. What it does is, if the person paying the fees is also the next of kin, then if you put the slider on, it will copy all the details from the next of kin onto the sponsor. So when you put this on, it copies everything across. Okay, now there are other details to be captured, but the details we've looked at illustrate how the live document works. When you're finished, what we'll do is we'll say either add or add and close. If you're going to capture other students, you can use add. It won't close the form. The form will just go blank and you can put in a new student. If you say add and close, you are done adding students, it will return to the class list. In this case, let's say add and close. You can see Redford James has now been added.